Introduction. Starting out with the equipment working. So I'm Joseph David, CEO of CAVirtEx. Every time I talk higher, I lose mic. This good if I talk like this? Can people just hear me? Good. All right. Okay, so very happy to be here at the Bitcoin Expo. And without further ado, let me just commence here. So everything's on that presentation. So that's me, a picture with Bitcoin, peeking over a Bitcoin. And that's from the cover of Alberta Venture magazine. They put me on the cover back in the early days when I thought it'd be good to get my name and face out there and spread Bitcoin. Since then, I've sort of said no to all media requests because I hesitate to be the poster boy for Bitcoin. But there you go. There you have it. It says, "You don't know this man. You might know what he's holding." And this was a long time ago, last year. Can't even remember the month. But since then, they haven't called me. They haven't really asked any more questions about Bitcoin. They just sort of announced it as a little movement happening, and no mention since then. So my favorite thing, I want to start with the favorite thing about Bitcoin. My favorite property of the Bitcoin, if I can just pick one, is zero chargebacks. When I learned about that, I just jumped for joy. In my height in my previous telecom company, in 2008, my telecom company did $1 million in gross revenue. $200,000 of that went to credit card chargeback fraud. I hired a collection agency. I tried myself to collect the money. I was wasting my time trying to collect money from fraudsters instead of trying to run my telecom business. And when I heard about this property of the Bitcoin, even to this day I say, you don't have to worry about chargebacks. It's zero chargebacks. Like, where do I sign? And plus, I want my customers to use Bitcoin, and I'll even give them a lower price to use Bitcoin over traditional payment methods because I want to deal with chargebacks. So there you go. My favorite thing about Bitcoin, zero chargebacks. They are impossible. For the first time in history, the merchant is protected. So that whole consumer being protected model, for the first time in history, just flips. I love that. The merchant is protected. I was at the Canadian Senate hearings in Ottawa on Wednesday. I was in front of the Canadian Senate and told them this. And I wish I would have emphasized this point more, because I testified on a Wednesday, last Wednesday. They had Royal Bank in on a Thursday, and they were asking questions about fees, and they were getting hung up on fees. What they should have asked was, what do you use to protect the merchant, right? Because the answer is nothing. Banks don't have an answer for that. The answer is nothing. On that note, on the consumer protection fraud, which make a quick expansion of that point. When a consumer commits fraud, they can do that with your identity, and they can do it 5 times 5 different people. And the merchant's up. When a merchant commits fraud, that's a response I get. Because what happens if I, the merchant, commit fraud? You send me Bitcoin, and I'm a water filter company, and I don't send you the water filter in the mail as promised. What's going to happen to my reputation as a business? It's going to go down, right? Because you're going to give me a bad review. You're going to say, don't do business with this guy. He's not a reliable businessman. So that's my answer to what about the recourse? Well, there's way better recourse on this side of the angle than there is on this. So that's my favorite thing. Let's move on. Okay, so what is CAVirtEx? It's an exchange where buyers meet sellers and trade Bitcoin and Litecoin for Canadian dollars. It's that simple. You can buy and sell Bitcoin and Litecoin with Canadian dollars. It's that simple. We are a marketplace. We are not a corporate Bitcoin reseller. We don't have corporate Bitcoins that we just sell to you. All we do is take you, the Bitcoin buyer, and you, the Bitcoin seller, let you put a price up on a marketplace, on an exchange, and trade between each other. We follow all the compliance regulations, so we have to verify clients. You start off with unverified status, with all you need is an email. No other documents are required, but you can't do much. You can hardly do anything on our exchange in unverified status. But if you want to start actually doing business with us and depositing and withdrawing money, you need to be on a level 1 or level 2 verified. You can see the long list of things we require. I often get asked, Bitcoin's free, instant, amazing, wonderful, great. It's instant, but banking takes forever. Why do you need all this information? Your Bitcoin's supposed to be anonymous, how come you're not? And people miss the point. The banking system in Canada, the reality is not anonymous. You have to follow regulation. You have to follow money handling regulations. So we do have to go through these processes. And by going through these processes, we remain in operation. You can buy a Bitcoin today, right now, with Canadian dollars on our exchange. So the limits here shows you that Mr. Unverified guy cannot deposit by bill payment, cannot deposit by wire transfer, cannot deposit by EFT direct debit. you can only deposit Bitcoins, sell them for CAD, and then withdraw up to $3,000 per month in CAD. That's the unverified guy. That's all you can do. And that's as per the FinTrack rules. That limit comes directly from FinTrack Canada, $3,000 a month. Then we have a level 1 guy and level 2 guy. Level 2 guy can do some big money. He can do $500,000 wire transfers in. You can get $500,000 out per month. Okay? So if you get level 2 verified, you can do some pretty big transactions with Vertex. How do we advance Bitcoin? What, in my capability as a business entrepreneur, what is one way that I can advance the cause of Bitcoin? Educate Bitcoin. I racked my brain over that for a year. And I've come up with my answer to you I'd like to give you. And that is merchant adoption. It's that simple. Your friends and cousins and sisters and grandmothers and everyone else that has no clue what a Bitcoin is, doesn't care what a Bitcoin is, shops online, right? So when they go to their next favorite website they shop on, they will see a checkout page like this. Conventional payment, this is my dream of the future from the sea. $500 conventional payment methods, $450 Bitcoin. First question they're going to ask and say to themselves is, why is it cheaper in this thing called a Bitcoin? Second thing they're going to say is, what is a Bitcoin? And third thing they're going to probably say is, how do I get a Bitcoin? And that's my dream. So to make that dream happen, we hired a sales force. We're one of the few Bitcoin exchanges in the world to hire and spend the money to employ a full-time sales force. Their job, 9 to 5, is to outbound dial merchants, to phone Canadian online merchants only and say, add Bitcoin as a checkout method in addition to your other payments. Our shopping cart API will convert it into CAD immediately. You don't have to know what a Bitcoin is. You'll get a Canadian dollar direct deposit in your bank account. And oh, by the way, it's 0 chargebacks, and the fees are much lower as well. So current state of our merchant service program is that we have 22 merchants active with CAVirtEx, 150 coming with 1,500 leads. Doesn't sound like much, but it was a lot of hard work to get there, and I have some really good news for you in a second you're going to like. But I want to quickly explain how it works. We have a 15-minute stopwatch for the purchase. Here's a screenshot of one of our merchants, Elbloom. When you want to pay in Bitcoin, we lock the price in for 15 minutes. This addresses the issue of volatility. So we, the exchange, take the risk, and we guarantee Elbloom their $100. If you want to send them $100 worth of Bitcoins, Elbloom can rest assured that they will get $100 CAD. They can also choose a percentage slider to say, I want 30% of my money in CAD and the rest in Bitcoin. They can even say, I want 0% converted to CAD and I want all of them left in Bitcoin, if they really want to. So we let them decide how much Bitcoin and CAD to take on each transaction. By default, it converts all CAD. And we do the immediate conversion. So what else can we do? For consumer use, we have debit cards. That's the most exciting thing I want to tell you about today. I'll tell you why. The debit cards we have that are available free at our booth have a daily load limit of $1,000 and can carry a maximum of $3,000. You need your debit card at any ATM. This is not a Bitcoin ATM debit card I'm talking about, guys. It's any ATM in Canada. We did the study. It's 58,000 of them. The one out here in the Metro Convention Center works with it. I paid for my drinks at the bar with it. This is a real debit card connected to the Canadian banking system. It also works at 750,000 point-of-sale terminals at merchants across Canada. So the previous slide you just saw, the critics say to me, oh, you only have 22 merchants accepting Bitcoin in Canada? Well, that's just Vertex. If you count the other people, the other competitors in Bitcoin space, you're probably going to get maybe, 2,000 people in Canada, 2,000 individual merchants at best? Well, my response to you is, you're sort of missing the point. Because an exchange like us lets you take Bitcoin, deposit it in our exchange, convert it to Canadian dollars, load it onto a debit card that's in my pocket, and then spend that money at a merchant. I'm from Calgary, at Chinook Mall downtown. If I want to buy some jeans, I just give it to the cashier, and she doesn't even know that I use Bitcoin to buy those jeans. So who accepts Bitcoin? My answer? Everyone, without even knowing it, through the CAVirtEx exchange. There you go. Problem solved. So what else is CAVirtEx? So we're more just an exchange. We're also proactive on Canadian regulations. And that's, I have an update for you later on that. And we also give Bitcoin users a safe place to store their coins. We are not a bank. I want to emphasize that. We are an exchange. We charge dormant account fees if you want to use us as a bank. But in the event of a hack, a physical theft of our equipment, a virtual hack, any scenario you can paint in your head, only 2% of your Bitcoins on Vertex will get stolen in what we call a hot wallet. 98% are stored in a matrix array of cold storage levels that are completely offline with paper backups, with multiple human beings managing the layers. So those cannot be stolen through virtual means because they are not connected to the online system. So where do we come from? Let's turn back the clock and I want to check my time. I'm good at my time. 10 minutes? I can't see up there.
About 5 minutes.
5, okay, I'm good. Okay. So let's turn back the clock to March 2011. When Bitcoin was at $5. Only one major exchange in the world at that time, Mt. Gox. How do you get it back then? Well, you could use Mt. Gox and do international wire transfers. To this day, if you do frequent international wire transfers out of Canada, your bank account will probably get shut down, like mine did. I'm a personal testament to tell you guys right now that 3 Canadian banks shut me down personally for doing this. The reason? I told the truth. They said, where is this $200,000 wire coming from? I said, Japan. What's it being used for? Or what was the source of funds? I hear this from bankers all the time, right? Bitcoin? What's that? Go to bitcoin.org. Yeah, we don't think so. You're shut down. It's slow and risky. The other way to get it was peer-to-peer. You know, Denny's coffee shop, cash in hand, local bitcoins. You know the deal. IRC, email money transfers. That was still happens today. People don't know this, so I'm telling you guys right now. Email money transfers are reversible.
I got burned.
They are. There you go. You got it. They're reversible. Don't accept email money transfers. You go to the email money transfer website. I like their slogan there: safe, easy, secure. I don't think so, guys. You're not.
They wouldn't tell me why.
That's right.
I don't know why I'm out fighting.
Because the banks are in charge and they want to protect the consumer. That's why.
I thought it
Let's move on. I'll take question and answer at the end. A better way, of course, is to launch an exchange. So my partner Ray, is my mic fading in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you turn my mic up? Can someone please turn my mic up? It's just fading in and out. Testing 1, 2, 3. Way better.
Okay.
I'm talking directly in. Well, can you just turn it up, please, a bit? Because every time I'm away, I lose it. So mic can be turned up? We're good? Okay. So my business partner Ray was inspired by EVE Online, the MMO game. You know, in EVE Online, when you press send on a currency transaction, it just sends to the other person right away. Do you like that? We developed an exchange in 2 months. My expertise comes from business operations, and I had a payment infrastructure already with my telecom company. And I was naive enough to believe that online bill payments, EFT, email money transfer that we tried in the early days, cash deposit. I was naive enough to believe this is all it could be transferred to the Bitcoin system. But so we started, and it worked for a little while. And we were live. In June 2011, here's a preview of our very, very amateur site back then. We had one ticker on the top with just the Bitcoin prices there. And there we were in June 2011. So our initial challenges were, this mic is really screwing up, Is it okay? Testing, so you gotta talk right over there. So the initial challenges was a legal investigation. I'm gonna try to turn this up. Can I turn it up on my side? There's no volume on here. Okay.
It's alright.
No volume, that's okay. Alright, so legal investigation. So we asked our lawyers, are there risks? If so, what are they? They say, we don't know. You know, and by the way, $50,000 please. Banking, cash deposits. Again, back in this in the year 2012, you could have gone to any major bank, give them our corporate account number, just like you can do now with a landscaping company, and say, hey, I just want to make a cash deposit. How's this? Perfect. Hey, I just want to make a cash deposit. You can do that if it's a landscaping company, but you can't do it if it's a Bitcoin company. So we got shut down real quick. Because chargebacks started happening. You can't charge about cash transfers in person, but it violates cash handling rules from FinTrack. So we got shut down. Every major bank in Canada shut us down. Every one of them. The big 5. So we went to other banks and kept on trying other smaller banks in Canada. Outside threats, hackers and thieves, DDoS attack in the early days. When you're reliant on third parties for your mail server, for your DNS, for anything, cloud storage, those third-party accounts can get compromised for social engineering. That's why one of our email lists from a long time ago got leaked, and our first 2,000 Vertex customers got an email from a guy sending them an invoice that when you open it, searches your computer for a wallet, and then steals it. So, you know, the solution to this is do everything yourself, right? Don't use anything. Don't use third parties for anything. Botnets and viruses. One example was we had a 65 IP attack on us And Ray, my co-founder and bluntly speaking, security genius, identified the 65 IPs that were attacking us. I then phoned the ISPs and the abuse department of those attacks and got them all shut down because they were using other people's computers illegally. This is the kind of stuff we've been dealing with by trying to keep alive here. So still just 2 guys we fought back. Started hiring, we got an admin team dedicated to payments, got customer support, we have a verification and compliance department now. And we're one of the few exchanges in the world that has a phone number. You can actually phone us right there, 888-812-2525. You can talk to someone. Don't submit a ticket, you can phone us. Talk to us, talk to me. I was answering the phone for the first year of operations, that's how I met my first 2 team members. And those are Ian Molendijk, our sales director now, he started verifications. Ian, can you stand please? He will be happy to process your merchant application and bring you aboard as a merchant at our booth. Reed is our business development manager. Are you here, Reed? There he is. He handles our social media, forums of communication. They both called me on the phone number, and met me before I hired them, and now they're a part of our team. So things started getting interesting. We had our first big rally in $250 in April 2013. We had payment processor changes we had to go through. We had a big wave of clients. We had social media shenanigans, people lying, saying, "VirtEx stole my money." It's not true, we didn't. All of our records are provable and auditable right now, being audited right now by a CFO. We have patent trolls. We have some joker that trademarked the word Bitcoin. Anyone know this guy? And he phones us and says, "I'm going to sue you for using my trademark."